Our planet, a vibrant tapestry of life, is teeming with wonders. From the deepest oceans to the highest peaks, we find an astonishing diversity of creatures and ecosystems, each uniquely adapted to its environment. But Earth is also a world of extremes. There are corners of our globe so harsh, so unforgiving, that they push the very boundaries of what life can endure. My name is Albert, and welcome to Unknown Facts. If you find this journey as fascinating as I do, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. Our first destination takes us to the Horn of Africa, to a place that looks as though it belongs on another planet. This is the Danakil Depression in Ethiopia, one of the lowest, driest, and hottest places on Earth. Here the ground itself seems to breathe, exhaling clouds of toxic gas. The landscape is a chaotic mosaic of sulfur fields, acid ponds, and mineral-laden geysers. The air here is a suffocating cocktail of chlorine and sulfur fumes, released from volcanic activity simmering just beneath the thin crust. The heat is relentless, with temperatures regularly soaring above 50 degrees Celsius, or 122 degrees Fahrenheit. The ground underfoot can be treacherous, a brittle crust hiding pools of boiling acidic water. It is a landscape in constant flux, shaped by the pulling apart of three tectonic plates. We now travel from the toxic plains of Africa to the arid heart of North America. Here, in the rain shadow of four major mountain ranges, lies a place with a name that leaves little to the imagination: Death Valley. It is a land of superlatives, holding the record for the highest air temperature ever reliably recorded on Earth. A staggering 56.7 degrees Celsius, or 134 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a long, narrow basin that sinks 86 meters below sea level, making it the lowest point in North America. The high, steep mountain ranges that flank the valley wall it off from the Pacific Ocean's cooling, moisture-laden winds. Water, the very essence of life, is almost entirely absent. Death Valley is the driest place in North America. Without a constant and plentiful supply of water, a human would succumb to dehydration in a matter of hours. Our journey now takes us off the coast of Brazil, to a small, isolated island known as Ilha da Queimada Grande. To the world it is better known by its terrifying nickname, Snake Island. This unassuming patch of land, just 43 hectares in size, is forbidden territory. The Brazilian government strictly prohibits any visitors. And for a very good reason. This island is home to one of the densest and most venomous snake populations on the entire planet. The undisputed ruler of this island is the golden lancehead pit viper, Bothrops insularis. This species is found nowhere else on Earth. Isolated from the mainland when sea levels rose thousands of years ago, the snakes here evolved differently from their mainland cousins. To hunt migratory birds effectively, they developed a venom that is terrifyingly potent, estimated to be 3 to 5 times stronger than any mainland lancehead. A single bite can cause localized pain, swelling, nausea, vomiting, intestinal bleeding, kidney failure, and brain hemorrhage. The population density is the stuff of nightmares. Conservative estimates suggest there is at least one golden lancehead for every square meter of the island. Local legends are filled with grim tales of those who dared to venture onto its shores, from fishermen to lighthouse keepers who met grisly ends. We now travel to the Bay of Bengal, to an island that is deadly not because of its geology or its wildlife, but because of its people. This is North Sentinel Island, part of the Andaman Islands archipelago. It is a place shrouded in mystery. The danger here comes from the Sentinelese, an indigenous tribe that has rejected all contact with the outside world, often with fatal violence. The Sentinelese are believed to be direct descendants of the first humans to migrate out of Africa, living in near total isolation for an estimated 60,000 years. Any attempt to approach the island is met with immediate and unambiguous hostility. Throughout modern history, sailors, fishermen, researchers, and missionaries have been met with a hail of arrows. In 2006, 2 fishermen whose boat drifted ashore were killed. In 2018, an American missionary was also killed. The Indian government enforces a strict exclusion zone, extending 5 nautical miles around the island. Having lived in complete isolation, they would have no immunity to common diseases like the flu, measles, or even the common cold. Our next location is not a product of natural forces, but of human error. We travel to northern Ukraine, to the Chernobyl exclusion zone. On April 26, 1986, a catastrophic failure at the number 4 reactor resulted in the worst nuclear disaster in history. An explosion and subsequent fire released a massive cloud of radioactive material that drifted across Europe. In the aftermath, a 30-kilometer exclusion zone was established, forcing the evacuation of over 116,000 people from cities like Pripyat and Chernobyl. They left with only what they could carry, believing they would return in a few days. They never did. Today the zone is a haunting, silent landscape. It is a place frozen in time where Soviet-era apartment blocks stand empty. The danger here is invisible, silent, and insidious. It is the radiation that has permeated the soil, the water, and every surface. Isotopes like cesium-137 and strontium-90 have long half-lives, meaning they will remain dangerously radioactive for decades, even centuries to come. In the absence of humans, wildlife has returned in surprising numbers. Wolves, wild boar, elk, and even the endangered Przewalski's horse now roam the empty streets of Pripyat, but they too carry the radioactive legacy in their bones and tissues. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is a chilling reminder of the immense power we have harnessed, and the devastating consequences when that power is unleashed. We journey now to South America, to a place where the primary danger is an overwhelming and absolute absence. This is the Atacama Desert in Chile, a 1,600-kilometer strip of land west of the Andes Mountains. It is widely regarded as the driest non-polar desert in the world. The landscape here is stark, otherworldly, and profoundly empty. It is a place so arid that it is often used by scientists as a terrestrial analog for the planet Mars. The extreme aridity of the Atacama is caused by a double rain shadow. To the east, the mighty Andes block rain-bearing clouds from the Amazon basin. Some weather stations in the Atacama have never recorded any rainfall whatsoever. In the central, most arid parts of the desert, the environment is so extreme that it is essentially sterile. There are vast stretches of this desert where not a single blade of grass, not a single cactus, can be seen. For humans, this lack of water is an immediate and lethal threat. Without a source of hydration, survival is impossible. The lack of moisture means that anything left here, from abandoned mining equipment to the remains of animals, is preserved for centuries. From the lowest and driest parts of the world, our journey now takes us to the very highest. We travel to the Himalayas, to the summit of Mount Everest, but our focus is not on the peak itself, but on the region above 8,000 meters. This is an altitude known by a chillingly accurate name, the death zone. It is a place where the human body can no longer acclimatize and begins, quite literally, to die. At this extreme altitude, the air pressure is only about 1/3 of what it is at sea level. This means that for every breath a climber takes, they are getting only 1/3 of the oxygen their body is used to. Even with supplemental oxygen tanks, climbers are operating on the very edge of their limits. The body simply cannot get enough oxygen to sustain itself. Muscle wastes away, digestion stops, and the risk of frostbite and hypothermia becomes acute. The lack of oxygen has a devastating effect on the human brain. Judgment becomes severely impaired. Climbers can experience confusion, hallucinations, and irrational behavior. The weather in the death zone is notoriously unpredictable and violent. The jet stream can whip the upper slopes with hurricane-force winds exceeding 200 miles per hour. Temperatures can plummet to -60 degrees Celsius. Storms can appear with terrifying speed, trapping climbers in whiteout conditions. In the death zone, a small mistake or sudden change in weather is often a death sentence. The death zone is littered with the bodies of those who have perished. Climbing into the death zone is a race against time. The body is on a ticking clock, using up its finite reserves. It is a vertical desert where the air itself is the enemy. We return to Africa, to the Great Rift Valley in Tanzania, to witness a body of water that seems to defy the very nature of what water should be. This is Lake Natron, a shallow salt lake whose appearance is as beautiful as it is deadly. Its waters are often tinged with a deep red or pink hue. But this beauty masks a lethal secret. The waters of Lake Natron are incredibly caustic, fed by mineral-rich hot springs. The alkalinity of the water can reach a pH level of more than 10.5, almost as alkaline as ammonia. For most animals, contact with this water is fatal. Any animal that dies in the lake is subject to a bizarre and macabre form of preservation. The high concentration of sodium carbonate acts as a perfect preservative, calcifying the body and leaving it in a hardened, stone-like state. And yet, in one of nature's great paradoxes, this deadly lake is the single most important breeding ground for the lesser flamingo. These remarkable birds have adapted to the caustic conditions. Their tough, scaly legs protect them from the alkaline water, and they build their nests on salt islands that form in the lake. For our final destination, we travel to the heart of the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan. Here in the middle of a vast empty landscape is a spectacle of fire and fury that has earned it a fitting name, the Door to Hell. This is the Darvaza gas crater, a fiery pit nearly 70 meters wide and 30 meters deep that has been burning continuously for over half a century. It is a man-made anomaly, a wound in the earth that refuses to heal. In 1971, Soviet geologists were drilling in the area, believing they had found a substantial oil field. Instead, they drilled into a massive underground cavern filled with natural gas. The ground beneath their drilling rig collapsed, swallowing the rig and creating a large crater that began to vent enormous quantities of methane gas. Fearing the release of poisonous gas into the atmosphere and its potential to spread to nearby towns, the geologists made a fateful decision. They decided to light the crater on fire, expecting the gas to burn off within a few weeks. They were catastrophically wrong. The cavern they had breached was far larger than they could have ever imagined. Those few weeks have now turned into more than 50 years, and the fire still rages with no sign of stopping. The environment in and around the crater is, of course, completely uninhabitable. The heat emanating from the pit is immense, making it difficult to approach the edge for more than a few minutes. At night, the crater's glow can be seen from miles away, a fiery beacon in the blackness of the desert. It is a truly hellish landscape, a constant, roaring inferno. From the burning crater of Turkmenistan to the toxic fumes of Ethiopia, from the crushing altitude of Everest to the serpent-infested shores of Snake Island, we have journeyed to the very limits of survival on our planet. These 9 locations, each deadly in its own unique way, showcase the raw and unforgiving power of nature, and in some cases, the grave consequences of our own actions. Yet, in almost every one of these hostile environments, we found a flicker of life. We saw microscopic organisms thriving in acid, flamingos nesting on a caustic lake, and resilient creatures adapting to the driest desert on Earth. This incredible tenacity is perhaps the most profound lesson of all. Life is persistent. It finds a way, clinging to existence in the most unlikely of places, constantly adapting and evolving to overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. Our journey ends here, but the wonders and dangers of our world are endless. I'm curious to know which of these deadly destinations shocked you the most. Please let us know in the comments below. And if you found this exploration of Earth's extremes as captivating as I did, please remember to subscribe to Unknown Facts and like this video. Thank you for joining me.